2000. Since last 22 years, I have been practicing as a pediatrician and a neonatologist in various Mumbai hospitals, and I have my own clinic at Vadala Bhakti Park. Today, I am going to introduce a lecture on for a general public about a neonatal jaundice. That is, what is a jaundice in a newborn. So let me begin the lecture, and I thank Baby Chakra people for introducing me to the general public about this particular lecture. If anybody has any question about a neonatal jaundice or any doubts, please ask. Hello, hello. Can I begin as a lecture of a neonatal jaundice? First, let me introduce about what is a neonatal jaundice. First of all, these two words itself, first, I have to tell you what is a neonate, a newborn. A newborn is the first 28 days of life. It's called as a newborn period. Jaundice. Jaundice means yellow discoloration of skin and the yellow conjunctiva, that is sclera of the and seen on first 3rd days of life till first 2 weeks of the life, and that is a normal jaundice for almost all children in who is born from the mother. Now, how seriously this matter is, or how serious this disease is, that I am going to introduce you. First of all, not all parents should get worried about once they hear about their child is having a neonatal jaundice. The thing has to be taken seriously only when there are certain situations in that particular child that we have to be aware of. All neonates with which are born at 9 months, that is at full term baby, on day 3 of life, they already have a yellow discoloration of skin and face and eyes, and that is a physiological jaundice. What is a physiological jaundice? A physiological means it is not a disease situation. A jaundice which is seen in an adult is yellow discoloration of eyes, yellow discoloration of skin, mucosa, and even the yellow high colored urine. That is a high incidence. That is a viral jaundice. That is a jaundice caused by a liver which is getting affected by 5 viruses, and it is a diseased situation, and it is a serious condition in an adult. But in a newborn who is born normally at 9th month and on day 3, which shows yellow eyes and yellow skin, does not mean it is a viral jaundice or it is a liver which is getting affected by a infectious situation. This particular situation, which is called as a neonatal jaundice on day 3 till day 14 of life, is a physiological jaundice of all children which is seen and which is not to be taken very seriously and does not require a very high treatment situation. Now, how do we assess the situation like this? First of all, we have to be aware that every individual should be aware of their own blood groups. So, mother and the father of the baby, they should be knowing their own blood group. Once the baby is born from a mother, and if the mother's blood group is O positive and the child's blood group is A or a B positive, then only that particular situation becomes a serious issue, or it can become a serious issue, but it can be settled by a simple phototherapy or exchange transfusion, or it can go to the grave situation where it is requiring exchange transfusion. Now, why this particular situation happens? Like, see, the blood group, there are 4 blood group situations in any individual, either O, A, B, or AB, and Rh positive or Rh negative situation. So the blood groups are O positive or O negative, A positive, A negative, B positive or a B negative, AB positive or AB negative. If the mother is having A or a B situation or AB situation, usually it doesn't matter. If the mother is having a O situation, O, and if the baby is A or a B, then from day 3 onwards, we have to be aware of a the jaundice situation, that is yellow discoloration of eyes or the skin. Now, what is this yellow discoloration? This yellow discoloration means the bilirubin which is increased in the body, and this bilirubin is increased in the body in newborn. That is because the babies who are born at the time of birth, they have high blood hemoglobin. Our normal hemoglobin in a normal individual is between 10 to 14 grams per deciliter. But babies who are born, they have a hemoglobin which is not an adult hemoglobin. It is a fetal hemoglobin, which is different from the adult hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the one which carries oxygen inside our blood circulation to the various tissues of the body. The fetal hemoglobin is different from the adult hemoglobin, and the first 6 months of life we have a fetal hemoglobin which is on a higher concentration. That means a baby, if you check out the hemoglobin is always somewhere above 14 to 16 situation. That hemoglobin production is from the bone marrow of our tissue, but that whatever is produced in the blood bone marrow, it gets destroyed, and that metabolic situation creates a waste product, and that waste product is bilirubin, and which is to be processed by the liver of our inside our abdomen. Now now as everybody is aware that a newborn till first 28 days of life is not able to talk, is not able to stand, is not able to, everybody is aware of this situation. Doesn't mean that the baby is weak, or the baby's brain is weak, or baby has affected his brain. No, it is just that he has not come to the maturity of standing situation, or eating situation, or a walking situation, or talking situation. The same thing applies to even this particular yellow discoloration, what we call jaundice, and that is immature liver function. The way our liver processes our whatever we have eaten through our oral cavity, the same is not applicable to the baby. The baby cannot eat what we eat eat as an adult, because the liver is not mature enough to process that particular food. The same thing applies to that bilirubin also, which is produced from the hemoglobin metabolism, and that hemoglobin which is on a higher concentration leads to higher waste product, that is bilirubin, but it cannot be processed by the liver to the mature situation. It takes its own time. As the first 3 months of life, at the third month, baby starts controlling his the head. The same thing applies. The first 2 to 3 weeks, the baby's liver situation comes to the maturity of processing the bilirubin. Until that complete maturity is achieved, that yellow discoloration, that high bilirubin, if you check out the bilirubin, it comes to the normal blood bilirubin is around, in any individual, is below 2, but 2 milligram. But in babies, if you check it out in a newborn, on day 3 till first 2 to 3 weeks, it is around 10, 15 situation. So this is so much high it is. But that doesn't mean that it has to be treated by a phototherapy or exchange transfusion or an NIC situation. When the things have to be taken seriously is when the baby is born as a preterm baby. That means the baby is not a complete term baby. If it is born at 7th month of life pregnancy, or 8th month of pregnancy, if the baby's blood weight at the time of birth is very low, that is below 2 kg, and when and the mother is O positive and the baby's blood group is A or a B positive, then the situation becomes a little serious condition, and then the baby should be taken to the doctor, where the baby will be checked by the doctor for the bilirubin. And if this bilirubin happens to be 15 or 20, then it has to be treated by a phototherapy. What is phototherapy? Phototherapy is a specific wavelength of a light. A phototherapy unit contains either LED lights or a tube lights of 6 to 7, and which are to be put at 1.5 feet from the baby's body, covering the baby's eyes and baby's genitals, because they should not be affected by that phototherapy light wavelength. So the baby is treated in that particular situation, and when the baby is kept in that particular phototherapy unit in a warmer, at that time the baby is sleeping, and the whatever the bilirubin which is deposited in the skin or the eyes, that is metabolized by the phototherapy, and they, gradually the bilirubin start dropping down from 14 to 15, for 15 to 14 to 13, and it seriously comes down. Why we have to treat this particular thing is because this particular waste product, if it goes on increasing, then it can lead to brain deposition of that bilirubin, which is a waste product, and it can lead to the serious condition known as a kernicterus. What is kernicterus? Kernicterus means our brain and the blood, it has a particular barrier. That particular barrier is mature enough in our body as a mature adult, but as in a newborn that barrier is not complete. So whatever is bilirubin which is produced inside our body, it can cross that barrier, and it can go into the brain and get deposited in the brain, just like it is get deposited in the skin or the eyes. So if it gets deposited into the brain, then that can produce a very serious condition known as kernicterus, and which will lead to a very serious issues in the baby's future. And that is why we have to be aware of this situation, and especially these conditions which I just deposited now. Baby of low birth weight, baby born preterm, mother's blood group is O positive, and the baby's blood group is A or a B positive. And then the single phototherapy unit is to be started. It can lead to a serious issue from third day onward till seventh day, and gradually from seventh day onward the bilirubin start dropping down as the liver gets mature in processing the bilirubin high, and then then it starts dropping down the bilirubin which is conjugated, that is processed hemoglobin, which gets deposited into the intestines, and then it leads to drop of bilirubin from the stool and the urine. If the baby is of low birth weight, and if the bilirubin can lead to situations of 25 and 30, there it can lead to an exchange transfusion situation where the baby's blood group, I mean, we get access to the baby's two large blood vessels. From one blood vessel, we take out the doctor takes out the blood of baby in small volumes of 2 ml 2 ml, and another blood which is taken from the blood bank of the same blood group, and it gets deposited in the same volume, and that is what is called as an exchange transfusion, where from one side we take out baby's blood, and the same volume blood get deposited in the uh, which is a pure blood, which gets deposited into the baby's blood. What parents should be aware of their own blood group. If the mother's blood group is, this is a serious issue, this which every parent should be aware of. The mother pregnancy situation means how much is the maturity of the pregnancy. That means it is the whole, I mean, 9 months, whole full term, or the immaturity of then the baby's blood group, then the baby's blood birth weight, mother's blood group, and baby's blood group. If the mother is O positive and the baby is A or a B positive, then this particular situation has to be assessed very seriously. Secondly, the parent, both mother and father, they should be aware, keep a watch on babies. This particular newborn jaundice is different from the adult infectious disease, that is A or B or C or D or E. That hepatitis condition where it leads to high colored urine, high deposited urine in the urine. So that particular jaundice is different than the neonatal jaundice, where the urine is not high color, because it is not a conjugated bilirubin, it is an unconjugated bilirubin. That is, it is not processed by the uh, liver because it is not mature enough. Okay. So this is what the difference between the neonatal jaundice and a infectious disease situation of an adult. And the baby should be kept watched upon on the, this is also one serious matter which every parent should keep a watch on, and that is, what is the color of the stool which is baby is passing after each breastfeeding. First 2 to 3 days, the baby's blood group is dark brown, and after third day or the fourth day onward, the baby starts making the stools, which is of this is greenish color stools of normal stools, which is seen from the third or the fourth day onward. If the baby's normal stools show this particular color, then the parents should be rest assured that their baby has no serious issue, and the bilirubin is getting dropped from the liver into the stool, and it is going out from the body. If the baby's stool's color is whitish, then the parent should run immediately to the pediatrician to show that blood particular stool sample, and it should be checked. And this is a very serious matter which should be every parent should be taking seriously, and it should be treated as early as possible, because if the baby's blood stools are whitish, they are not dark brown from third day onward. It leads to the situation which is a serious surgical condition called as biliary atresia. What is biliary atresia? Biliary atresia means a liver which is connected to our intestines by a particular tube, and that particular tube drops the whatever the bilirubin, which is a waste product of hemoglobin, which is taken from the liver, and it is dropped into the intestines, and the intestine drop them into the stool. If that particular tube is not properly formed inside our body genetically right from the birth, then the bilirubin cannot come into the intestines, and then the stools cannot become yellow or greenish. And this particular situation can lead to a very serious issue like a liver cirrhotic and liver becoming portal hypertension, and which can lead to even the loss of life also. So that is what we have to be aware of immediately. And if the baby stools are whitish, immediately patient should be taken to the neonatal ICU, and the pediatrician should be made aware of all this situation, and immediately a surgeon has to come into the picture, and then they will take proper steps of taking a HIDA or a PIPIDA scan of a liver, and that pediatrician will take the matter issue very seriously, and they will treat it surgically very well before 6 weeks of life. And the baby can be treated immediately by connecting the liver to the intestines by producing a surgical tube between the liver and the intestine. Otherwise, a normal physiological jaundice of a normal 3 kg and above baby, with a normal newborn who is full term, whose birth weight is very good, whose blood group there is no situation like mother is O or baby is A or B. If the mother is A, baby is also A, or a baby is B, or mother is also A, don't worry. This is not a situation which has to be treated by phototherapy or exchange transfusion. That baby has to be fed proper breastfeeding. Give as much as possible on demand breastfeeding as much as possible. Let the baby pass urine and stool not many times. Minimally, at least in 24 hours, each baby should pass minimum 6 to 7 times urine. But what happens usually is they usually in 24 hours they pass 14 to 20 times urine, and that is a good issue. If they pass stools also, sometimes they pass once in 3 days or 4 days, or sometimes they pass in one day itself, they pass 10 to 12 times in a day, stools. But that doesn't mean that it is a constipation or this is a diet. It is on breastfeeding, let them pass stools 15 to 20 times, and that is a good. And that is as much as they pass urine, that much amount of bilirubin will be lost from the body, and that much amount of waste will go outside the body. And then gradually from third day onwards, whatever that bilirubin was rising in the blood will start dropping down from fifth to seventh day, and by second week the baby's bilirubin will be totally out, and baby will be totally normal, and this should not be treated inside the NICU by phototherapy or exchange transfusion. If anybody has any question, please ask me. Hello. Thank you.